and then I just wing it, and then I say stuff that might not entirely be true. Hey everyone, so this week's vlog, I'm going to start a series by doing a rundown of each park that I was at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the rides I rode at each park. Now, I'm not going to talk about the nighttime shows, I'm going to do that in a different video. I'm not going to talk about food, I already did that in another video, so check that out. I just thought I'd go over the rides and what I thought about them, that way you guys could see what I rode. And I'm going to include some of the attractions, like some of the shows and stuff like that. So not technically all rides, but you'll get the gist of what I'm going to do. And then let me know what I missed out on, and so be sure to subscribe because I'm going to do this in multiple parts. Like I'm going to start with Magic Kingdom today, and I think I'm going to split this up into 2 parts. There's a lot of rides I rode. So then I'll break down Epcot, and I'll do Hollywood Studios, and I will do Animal Kingdom. These are the highlights that I had and the things that I got to do. Now some of these I will repeat because I enjoyed them a lot. Others of them I might skip next time and do something else instead. But let's get started with what I did and talk about that. Alright, so this is part 1 of my Magic Kingdom video. Part 2 will be in a separate video, I think. And we'll see how that goes. All right. Okay, so the first night I was at Magic Kingdom and they were open till 1 a.m. with extra magic hours. So I did some things. Now, extra magic hours were a little disappointing. There are rides that just aren't open. Some of the more popular ones, Big Thunder Mountain wasn't open, or it was and had a really long wait. I think it was and had a really long wait. This is why you should fact check yourself before you do these videos. Splash Mountain was closed, that I know for certain. There were long lines, even with extra magic hours. I figured young kids Magic Kingdom, not gonna be that busy, but it was. So the first ride I rode was Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid. This is a ride that you ride through and it kind of goes through the story of the movie. There's a few of these rides out there, and this is not to be confused with the live stage show at Hollywood Studios, which I had seen before. But this literally just takes you through the movie. It's got some great animatronics. The Ursula animatronic is really cool, and the area is just really cool because you've got Ariel's Grotto right there, and just the castle, Eric's Castle's right there. It's a really cool ride. I enjoyed it. It was also a nice way to cool off after staying outside for the fireworks. It was really muggy because it had rained. I enjoyed it. It's a good retelling of the story in a really short form version. There's not too much to say about it because it really is just The Little Mermaid. So if you're familiar with that story, you know, it's not what I'm probably gonna do every time, but I enjoyed it. The theming was really nice. After that, I headed over to Mickey's PhilharMagic. Now, I had never done this before. For those of you familiar with Muppet Vision 3D, it's very similar to that. It's a sensory movie, right? There's 3D effects, there's wind effects, there's scent effects, there's sound effects, there's all this kind of stuff to kind of immerse you in this animated film that you're watching that tells a story of Donald stealing Mickey's sorcerer hat and journeying through that. It's a cool experience. I'm a sucker for those. I just like the immersion experience, and Disney's great at that. It's also a great way to cool off. You're in a theater, it is cooler, it is just a good way to cool off for 15-20 minutes. There's not usually a long line. I did it twice when I was there. I did it on the second day too. Again, just to cool off for a bit. The last ride I did that night was Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, it only had a 5-minute wait. I don't know why. I would figure that one would have been more popular. But it is kind of off by itself, and so I headed over to Frontierland and hopped on that. And it's a little bit different going from the Disneyland one to the Magic Kingdom one. The Disneyland one I think is better. The drop's a little bit more extreme. The intro as you ride through the dining area is also kind of cool. The ride otherwise is pretty much the same. It has the same effects with projection and animatronics. They've worked Johnny Depp into a lot of it. They did rework the wench into a redheaded pirate, which is okay. It's fine. I think it's a little bit overly PC, but, you know, okay, if people complain and it helps them, that's great. I don't want to start that argument. It's okay. It's fine. Pirates of the Caribbean is just a classic, right? It's something you have to do at Disney. It is just one of those rides that is a must-do. If you haven't done it, then you're really missing out on the experience. It's funny because I don't remember ever being scared as a kid with it. Now, maybe it's because my dad was so excited for it. I don't know, but I still enjoy it a lot. So after the extra magic hours night, I went back a couple days later, and so I was there for extra magic hours in the morning. Again, a lot of the rides just weren't open. Splash Mountain wasn't open yet, so I hopped on It's a Small World, which usually has a really long line because it's just a classic. I hopped on that, and it is good. This is an example where Small World is a lot better than Disneyland representation. Now, granted, Disneyland is the original one, right? It's the one that Walt Disney premiered at the World's Fair, but the immersion experience just isn't great. You can see the floor because the way the boat's structured and where the water is, and so you can kind of see what the animatronics are moving on. It just feels really old, and you can see the drop ceiling, whereas the Walt Disney World one takes all those elements out of it. And so it's just a great experience. And it's just fun. It's a classic. It reminds me of being a kid. And you're just on a boat ride. And the messaging is just great too, right? It's funny how 50 some years ago, they kind of saw the world coalescing and becoming a smaller world, and they couldn't have foreseen all the communication aspects of it. So just kind of cool, right? Because now it's possible to talk to people from around the world at any moment. I've talked to people from Holland, from England, from France, from Russia. It just, social media allows for those things. If you're from one of those countries and you're watching this video, let me know in the comments, because I like talking to people from other countries and learning about other cultures. So after that, I did go to Splash Mountain, and I've been waiting for this ride. I'd never ridden it, and I talked to my parents after I got back, and that's because it didn't exist. It's newer. It's a revamped one. We rode the old log ride, which I think is what this replaced, because it's a very similar idea. But ironically, it actually takes on the story of Song of the South, which is something that Disney tries to forget a lot about. And it's a good ride. You get a little wet, so be prepared for that. You don't get super wet. You can get splashed, specifically if you're waiting to go up. You can get splashed by other riders as they go down. That's the place I noticed you can get the wettest. So if you try and avoid that, good luck, because you're not going to. A good way to cool off a little bit. And the theming's also really good. Going through the Briar Patch, the story it tells. And it's got characters you probably wouldn't expect with Brer Rabbit and those kind of things. It'd be cool if they had more merchandise for those characters, which they do not. There are pins. But that's about all you can get. You can't get plush. I think they have the characters come out at some times, but they were not out when I was there. After Splash Mountain, I went over to Haunted Mansion. And again, I don't remember doing this one as a kid, but I did it in Disneyland. It's very much like Disneyland, except when I was in Disneyland, it was Halloween themed. So they had done the Nightmare Before Christmas theming. So this was the more classic one, but a lot of the same tricks, right? And some good stuff. And it's just interesting because this ride is older, and some of the technology they use is just really interesting. How they create the ghosts is really cool, and it's just a really cool experience. I get why kids would be scared of this. I probably would have been scared at their age too, but it is an interesting ride and something that's just classic Disney and something you have to do. And it does usually have a long line. I didn't have a fast pass for it, so I waited, but I only waited about 20 minutes. So that's part one of this video. Let me know what you think about the rides I've covered so far. I'm gonna cover the second half of the rides in the next video, and then I'll kind of go over my favorites at the end of that video. These are in no particular order. They are in the order in which I rode them. So until next time, guys, make sure that you're following me on Instagram and Twitter as I post more photos from my trip and I talk more about what I'm planning. My next trip is almost planned, so I will be talking about that soon. So make sure you're also subscribe to this channel, like this video so I know you're here, leave a comment so we can have a discussion. I want this to be interactive. I want you to hear what you think. And until next week, have a great day.